Pyongyang test fires another ballistic missile, and Seoul authorities confirm the death of Kim Jong-nam, North Korean leader Kim Jong-un's half-brother. Special prosecutors push to make progress in the power abuse investigation, but face a number of stumbling blocks, while the legal battle continues at the Constitutional Court. All this right ahead. Welcome to News Inside. I'm An Jang-hyun. Let's welcome back our panelists. Professor Shin Sang-hyuk from Kyung University Graduate School of International Studies joins us once again. And Dr. Bong Young-sik from Yonsei University Institute for North Korean Studies is with us as well. North Korea has conducted another ballistic missile test, drawing strong condemnation from the international community, while South Korean intelligence officials confirm leader Kim Jong-un's half-brother Kim Jong-nam was murdered with poison in Malaysia. Here are the details.
North Korea test-fired a ballistic missile in the morning hours of February 12th. From an inland area in the western region of Pyongyang, the missile flew an estimated 500 kilometers before falling into the East Sea, reaching 550 kilometers in altitude.
지상대 지상 중장거리 전략 단도탄 북극성 일용 시험 발사에서 완전 성공.
After the launch, the North widely promoted the news through state media, calling the newly developed Pukguksong-2 a great success. Experts continue to examine whether the missile is of a new kind. So far, Pukguksong-2 is said to have used solid rocket fuel and is similar to the submarine-launched ballistic missile, or SLBM, Pukguksong-1. Shortly after the missile test, Seoul's National Security Advisor Kim Jin chaired an emergency meeting, while the Foreign Ministry strongly condemned Pyongyang.
북한 정권의 일상화된 도발은 북한 비핵화를 위한 국제사회의 의지를 더욱 강력히 결집시킬 것이다. 이와 관련 우리 정부는 안보리 결의 2321호 등 대북 제재 결의에 충실한 이완과 함께 미, 일, EU 등 우방국들의 강력한 독자 제재를 통해서.
Meanwhile, North Korean leader Kim Jong-un's half-brother Kim Jong-nam was assassinated this week. While waiting to transit at an airport in Malaysia, he is said to have been poisoned by suspects. The South Korean government responded quickly to the news, working to identify what happened as well as monitor the latest movements within the North.
상황 점검을 하고 그리고 탈북민과 남북 교류 단체 관계자들에 대한 신변안전 시스템을 점검을 하고 앞으로 신변안전에 유의하도록 촉구할 예정입니다.
The latest provocation, the first in 4 months, combined with an unexpected assassination, has once again stirred up uncertainties on the Korean peninsula.
The missile that was test-fired this time was the Pukguksong-2, described by the North as a mid- to long-range ballistic missile, not an ICBM. What do we know about this missile?
Well, this missile is an upgraded version of the SLBM, submarine-launched ballistic missile. And the one thing which I want to underline regarding this missile, well, this missile used the solid or fuel, yes. So far, all missiles made by the North Korea, they use the liquid fuel. But this time, this missile used the solid fuel. So this means what? When they use the liquid fuel, if they cannot launch the missile, they have to take out the fuel back from the missiles. So the risks in preparing the launching of the missiles, it was quite high, but more dangerous than when they use the solid fuel. Secondly, this missile can be launched from a truck. So we can say that the mobile capability has been improved. And what does it mean to South Korea and the United States? It is more dangerous because that they can launch the missiles anywhere in North Korea. So the current defense system, missile defense system we have, cannot cover all the attacks from North Korea. It means it's more serious threats to not only South Korea but also even United States.
Well, the North has a range of missiles with development dating back to the 1970s, but the latest line of missiles does look like a step above the rest, and these were probably named by Kim Jong-un himself?
It's a habit of North Korean leadership to name important, flowers and weapons in order to commemorate and praise the supreme leadership and the glory of the nation. And you're correct that the new series of missiles are named after the North Star. 북극성 means North Star. In the previous missiles, the names include like 광명성, which literally means a bright star, symbolizing the supreme leadership of the former leader, the current leader's father, the late Kim Jong-il. And North Korean government also named 무수단 missiles as a 화성, means Mars. So all this causes confusion among North Korean observers, including myself, and I hate memorizing all these names. So there are three categories. It's in order to remember and categorize all these missiles invented by North Korea. Those names of stars are names the North Koreans themselves put on the missiles. And the names we are familiar with, such as 무수단, 로동, are names used by South Koreans after the location of the missile launches, like missile fired in Musu area. And there is also a name used by US government, like a KN series, KN-08 or KN-11 or KN-14. That literally means Korea, North. So missiles invented by North Korea. But these names are indicating basically the same group of missiles used by North Korea.
Just more for you to memorize.
Right.
Now, the launch happened while U.S. President Donald Trump was hosting Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe in Florida. Do you think the timing was deliberate?
I think so. We do not know yet exactly what kind of stance the Trump administration has. But one thing we have to concern about is about particularly capacity. There was hearings at the USA Congress. Over there, from the lawmakers, they asked the high government officials in the United States whether USA can wage two wars at one time. As you know very well, USA government is engaging in the war in the Middle East country, fighting against the IS. And then the question is asking whether USA can conduct another war against North Korea. About the question, regretfully for us, the American top military experts says that we cannot. The USA does not have such a kind of capacity. What kind of the meaning? This is for South Korea, for North Korea. I think after hearing this news from the USA, maybe if I am the leader of North Korea, I want to test the USA the stance about the North Korea. So I think by launching this missile this time, North Korean leaders, they want to test the American stance about on the North Korea.
So what do you think the message was to South Korea?
As Professor Shin pointed out, this time North Korea succeeded in using solid fuel, which only gives a maximum 2-hour warning time for South Korea military and U.S. forces in South Korea to prepare for the missile attack from the north. So some people predict that because of the recent missile test by North Korea, the public opinion inside South Korea will be shifting in huge favor of deploying the THAAD system. But I don't know whether that will be the correct prediction, because it may only exacerbate the existing controversy and discord about THAAD deployment, arguing that, see, our missile defense system, and even with the THAAD system, we will not be able to protect ourselves from North Korean missile attacks. So negotiations are only option left as a viable option to deal with North Korea with, its missile and nuclear technology, which have been getting increasingly and rapidly sophisticated and more formidable. Remember what Ms. 최선희, who's in charge of North American affairs in the Foreign Ministry of North Korea, said, "We will wait until the beginning of the key resolve joint military exercise in early March because we also need time to study Donald Trump administration because North Koreans did not expect him to win the election." But she said, quote, "Things will be rough," end quote, if the United States will continue hostile policy in March. And we are in the middle of February, and North Koreans seems to intend to keep their words.
Well, Seoul and the international community took swift action following the missile test, strongly condemning Pyongyang's latest provocation. Take a look.
News of North Korea's missile test came as U.S. President Donald Trump was hosting Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe in the U.S. The two leaders held a press conference condemning Pyongyang.
今般の北朝鮮のミサイル発射は断じて容認できません。
Thank you very much, Mr. Prime Minister. I just want everybody to understand and fully know that the United States of America stands behind Japan, its great ally, 100%. Thank you.
South Korea, the U.S., and Japan called for an emergency meeting at the UN Security Council, which unanimously adopted a statement denouncing the North's actions.
The members of the Council reiterated the importance of maintaining peace and stability on the Korean Peninsula and in Northeast Asia at large.
Beijing also expressed its opposition to the missile test in a foreign ministry briefing, but suggested Seoul and Washington should not use this to bolster their claims for THAAD deployment.
中方反对朝鲜违反安理会决定进行有关的发射活动。像我们已经在这个问题，在这个场合多次指出，像朝鲜的核岛问题的根源在于朝美和朝韩之间的矛盾。
The Russian government has not officially issued a statement on the latest provocation, but lawmakers have openly criticized Pyongyang's latest actions as well.
The missile test was the first active provocation under the new U.S. president. And as you said earlier, although Trump has yet to establish a clear North Korea policy, the possibility of a preemptive strike is surfacing once again.
I think the what is certain at the moment is the possibility of the preemptive strike increases. If I quote the statement made by Rex Tillerson, new Secretary of State, he said that the USA should put all options on the table. And another statement which I want to quote is the General Vincent Brooks. He's the head of the Joint Army, ROK, and U.S. Army in Korea. He also emphasized that the USA should improve the strike capacity against North Korea. So certainly the possibility of the preemptive strike against the targets in North Korea increased. But one thing which I want to emphasize is that once the preemptive strike made by the United States, then there could be a full-fledged war on the Korean Peninsula. So there can be a kind of the almost importance on the Korean people and the Korean government. So we have maintained the dialogue channel with the United States in order to participate in decision-making procedure, just in case, for the preemptive strike on North Korea within the United States government.
I like to quote a Korean expert, Mr. David Straub of Stanford University, who warned these talks in Washington about contemplating surgical strike or preemptive strike on North Korea, taking a life of its own. It's very dangerous rhetoric. I mean, you know how many foreigners are present in South Korea in a given moment?
2 million?
Almost 2 million,
yes.
Right? 1.95 millions. And among them, almost 1 million foreigners are Chinese. And there are, 45,000 Japanese. And what about the U.S. citizens and U.S. military officers and their family members? If Washington launches surgical strike or preemptive strike, And nobody can guarantee that North Korea will just sit still and quiet. I do not think so. That goes against the nature of totalitarian leadership in Pyongyang. Then who's going to assume the responsibility when hell breaks out?
So for now, it's just rhetoric.
Talk.
North Korea is certainly making it difficult for China to keep opposing Seoul's THAAD deployment, though.
I don't think so. Well, it's a little dent, to Chinese government in criticizing the deployment of THAAD. But as I said, that this missile launch only proves that without China on board, any U.S. policy to denuclearize North Korea is a lost cause. We just discussed the rhetoric of a surgical strike as just an empty threat to North Korea. So military options are extremely limited. If non-existent, then China's influence is extremely important for the United States, South Korea, and Japan to, make meaningful changes on North Korea's behavior. So, yes, Chinese government will suffer from short-term damage because of North Korea's recent provocation, but in the end, this only highlights how important China is in this equation of North Korea's nuclear development. And of course, this North Korea missile test was made in celebration of the birthday of his father, and in the aftermath of during the summit meeting between Prime Minister Abe of Japan and U.S. President Donald Trump. But I think the summit meeting that Kim Jong-un had in mind was the upcoming summit meeting between Xi Jinping and Donald Trump.
Now, in March, Seoul and Washington are scheduled to hold their joint annual military drills. Do you expect more provocations ahead?
I think so. From the end of last year, there has been some very careful forecasting about the provocative actions, possible provocative actions made by North Korean government. Particularly in March, there will be a large joint military exercise named the Key Resolve. And the expected provocations made by the North Koreans could be a sixth nuclear test. According to the report, the North Korea is finished the preparation for the sixth nuclear test. So whenever they want, they can conduct a nuclear test. So certainly, sixth nuclear test can be the most available options to North Korea on the occasion of the March, the large-size joint military exercise. By doing so, they can send the very clear signals to new American government. So far, we do not know exactly the USA government policy toward North Korea, but definitely in such a kind of situation, definitely the North Korea want to make sure the policy direction of the USA towards them. So there must be high possibility of the sixth nuclear test before the March joint military exercise between two countries, Korea and USA. And of course, second expected provocation from North Korea is maybe they will keep on launching the missiles. After the missile launched several days ago, USA responded very immediately because they could be the targets of the missile tests of North Korea, definitely. So maybe the USA government seems to put more priorities on the missile launching of North Korean government. So definitely on the part of the North Korean government, it can be the best options, strategies to draw the attention from the USA government. And then, of course, at the same time, this is one of the best way for them to test the USA government policy toward themselves.
Yeah, especially if we consider how many missile tests they conducted last year. Now, in another development, Kim Jong-un's half-brother, Kim Jong-nam, was confirmed dead by Malaysian authorities this week. What else do we know about this case?
According to the testimony delivered by the Director of National Intelligence Service, Mr. Lee Byung-ho, that it was a long-standing order directly given by Kim Jong-un. So the timing-wise, it was not a surprise because there was another attempt to assassinate Kim Jong-nam by a North Korean agent in 2012. and Kim Jong-nam sent a personal letter to beg for his life and his family's lives to his half-brother, but Kim Jong-un never canceled the order. So it was an execution of long-standing order by North Korean agents. But I would like to caution that we should not try to read too much out of this assassination because Kim Jong-nam never represented legitimate alternative to Kim Jong-un leadership. Kim Jong-nam was not a kind of a resistance group to Kim Jong-un leadership. He was not like a government in exile. He was long been ousted from the power struggle, even during the time when their father was alive. So it was just a personal decision by Kim Jong-un to eliminate his half-brother.
Well, he did express his criticism against the succession of power system in North Korea.
There was a huge mistake on Kim Jong-nam's part because in contrast to Kim Jong-nam, who occasionally render criticism about his half-brother, who is now top leader of the republic, the other brother, Kim Jong-chol, has been such a loyal member to Kim Jong-un, and never expressed any desire to oppose Kim Jong-un's leadership in North Korea. So it was an execution of a family member who failed to display sufficient loyalty to the regime.
So we are to believe that Kim Jong-un was behind this assassination. Now, Kim Jong-nam, if you think about it, was the eldest son of the late leader Kim Jong-il, in addition to being half-brother to Kim Jong-un. And he had been in line to succeed his father for a while.
Yes.
And then something happened. He went into exile.
Well, turning point for him was he tried to enter into Japan with a forced passport. So he was arrested by the Japanese police. Before that event, it was reported that he was one of a strong candidate to be the successor to his father.
He was being groomed to become a leader.
But the Kim Jong-il, then North Korean leader, was very upset because of this event. And then Kim Jong-il showed his back to his son. So since that time on, he should have faced very different situations before. And then since that time on, he should spend most of the time outside North Korea.
Now, Kim Jong-un has purged and executed many key officials since he came into power, and now his half-brother is dead. This assassination, is this just another part of his reign of terror? And some might say he still seems awfully insecure about his hold on power.
I disagree with the analysis to describe all these events as signs of insecurity of Kim Jong-un. Rather, I like to regard this as a sign of strength and confidence on his part. Yes, he's paranoid, but being paranoid does not always mean being insecure. If anything, then this means that Kim Jong-un, totally owns the whole country. He's afraid of nobody, and he is afraid of nothing. He purged his uncle, Jang Song-taek, and that means that he was not afraid of the reaction from China, or he sent a message to people who quietly advocated market reform of the total change of the North Korean system. And now he killed his half-brother, which is actually against his father's dying wishes. Please do not kill your brother. What does it mean then? Kim Jong-un is now psychologically, mentally independent leader. He's free from any legacy left by his father. He can make any decisions on his own terms. And institutionally, we remember that he had a fifth party Congress for the first time in 36 years. So mentally, psychologically, institutionally, now North Korea is Kim Jong-un's country.
While all this was happening outside of Korea, domestically, the special prosecution probe and impeachment trial are dragging on. There are many issues still at stake. Here's the latest.
With less than 2 weeks to go until the special prosecution's initial mandate expires, the standoff with the presidential office of Cheongwade is intensifying. Prosecutors were unable to conduct a raid, having been blocked by the presidential office, and they have yet to question President Park Geun-hye in person. The special prosecutor's office now awaits a ruling from a court on the failed search and seizure. Also this week, investigators summoned Samsung heir apparent Lee Jae-young for questioning and once again requested an arrest warrant. Meanwhile, the Constitutional Court is also moving forward with the impeachment trial, scheduling its last hearing for the 22nd. It also requested the Parliamentary Impeachment Committee and President Park's defense team submit their final positions on the case by the 23rd. One of the last variables in the impeachment trial will be whether the president makes an unprecedented court appearance, a possibility many remain divided on.
피청구인 신문을 받을 건지 말 건지 아니면 일방적으로 최후 변론만 하고 갈 건지에 대한 명백한 입장을 밝혀달라는 준비 서면을 제출했습니다.
그건 의뢰인 피청구인 대통령과 상의하도록 하겠습니다.
It has now been well over 2 months since the parliamentary impeachment of the president, but attention will remain on some of the key outstanding variables.
The special prosecution has yet to question the president, with the two sides still locked in a standoff. What's at the heart of this issue?
Prosecutors' team focused their question on issues such as additional money handed to Choi Soon-sil and suspicions that the Fair Trade Commission gives the go-ahead to Samsung's merges the deal between the Samsung C&T and the jail industries. By proving this one, they can make this President Park's impeachment case be a successful one. I mean, the Constitutional Court can uphold the impeachment case. This is the basic stance taken by the special prosecutors team. And how about the defender, President Park's the lawyers? They wanted to delay the final ruling of the Constitutional Court. So as we know very well, they refused to the raid to the Blue House, and they also requested many witnesses to the Constitutional Court. So basically, there are big gaps in the stance between the special prosecutors team and the defenders for President Park Geun-hye.
Now, former President Roh Moo-hyun was suspended for 63 days during his impeachment trial. President Park's suspension has now surpassed that. Do you think she'll be able to turn the tide?
Not very much. Well, at the moment, the President Park Geun-hye just tried to change the tide by using by changing the public sentiment. Very recently, we can see the increase of the size of the pro-Park the rally. Those we call it 태극기 rally. The number of the participants in this rally increased very rapidly. And then even former senior lawyers and judges, they made statements that regardless of the personal favor, personal support for the President Park Geun-hye, they said that there have been some problems in applying or interpreting the existing laws in dealing with the President Park's impeachment, those kind of things. So President Park Geun-hye, whenever she has a chance, she has used the opportunity to change the public sentiment. But I think it's too late in some sense. We have to wait and see, of course. But I think it would be extremely difficult for her to change the atmosphere.
Now, the Constitutional Court has told both legal teams to submit their final summaries by the 23rd, leading many to believe that a ruling will be out perhaps in early March. But some are raising issue with the fact that the court imposed such a deadline.
Right. There are basically two opposing positions regarding the request made by the Constitutional Court. One opinion is that the Constitutional Court has to do everything to speed up the whole deliberation so that the entire Korean society will go back to the old,
normal
conditions, and the political order will be quickly restored.
대통령이 탄핵당해서 직무가 정지된 이 마당에 헌정 질서를 조속히 복구해야 한다는 것은 전 국민적인 염원이고.
The other opinion is that there shouldn't be any pressure from political parties or other branches of government on constitutional court. That is in violation of the basic principle of liberal democracy.
Pressuring the court to make a hasty decision.
Hasty decisions, right? And because the independence of the court is one of the backbones of the functioning liberal democracy.
총 동원령을 내리고 심지어 헌재에 대해서 탄핵 시기와 결정을 다 얘기를 하고 있지 않습니까? 어떤 정치적 압력이나 또는 어떤 감정적인 겁박을 통해서 이렇게 하는 것은 전혀 잘못되고 있다.
And the legal experts would agree that the independence of the court should be protected. And the Constitutional Court should take as much time as it deemed necessary to render a verdict that is based upon facts and legal judgments of the 8 justices of the Constitutional Court.
What do you think are some variables that could impact the court's final decision?
Well, at the moment, the lawyers for President Park Geun-hye, they request to the Constitutional Court to take the about 2,000 recording files, take as the evidence. There are about 2,000 recording files of Ko Yong-tae, who started the investigation. He reported this case to one of the mass media, and then it is the beginning of this scandal. And then on the part of the lawyers for the President Park Geun-hye, they said that when they review the 2,000 the files, certainly it is related to the private and personal the privacy related problems in between Choi Soon-sil and Ko Yong-tae, and then Ko Yong-tae just tried to take over the ownership or the ownership of these foundations, K foundations. So because of such a kind of some personal ambition, he set on fire about this investigation. So this is kind of logic. By using, exaggerate and pointing this point as one of the key issues in the impeachment trial, they want to delay the final rulings from the Constitutional Court. As you know very well, at the moment there are 8 justices at the Constitutional Court, and the justice will finish her term by the 13th of March. There will be 7 justices. Then out of 7 to uphold this the case, the 6 justices should say yes. So possibility of upholding of this case at the Supreme and Constitutional Court with 7 justices would be very low than it is actually. So this is a basic tactic maybe taken by the lawyers for the President Park Geun-hye.
As the impeachment trial drags out, we've seen massive rallies take place both among those supporting and opposing the impeachment.
Yeah, I saw some of my relatives actually participating in the rally.
Yeah, I won't ask you which side, but many politicians are also doing their part to sway public opinion. What do you think about that?
Well, I'm really concerned about the extreme rhetorics and actions taken by some, populist politicians to try to take advantage of the public sentiment, angry sentiment. This is not time to prioritize, regime interest or partisan interest. We are in, national crisis since late September. How many times have we, discussed this topic, the political turmoil triggered by Choi Soon-sil scandal since last year here at News Inside, and we are getting a little bit closer to some kind of closures and conclusions of the political scandals. But at the same time, it is far from very clear and secure that majority of the South Korean public would welcome or accept the outcomes of the special investigators' investigation and the decision by the Constitutional Court. What if President Park Geun-hye will be impeached in the Constitutional Court? Then we will have presidential election sometime in early summer. Then such extreme political atmosphere will continue to grow, and that is not good for maintaining basic public order and social union among Koreans.
There are concerns about the political turmoil being drawn out and many different opinions as to how we should move forward. What do you think we should do at this point?
How should we move forward?
Yeah.
That's such a big question for me to answer.
Well, some are saying that let's just wait for the Constitutional Court's decision. Others are saying that maybe the president should be put under arrest, and then the investigation should continue.
We have to go back to the basic question: what triggered public anger about the alleged Blue House connection with the shaman-like figure, Ms. Choi Soon-sil and her associates? It is because they appear to have violated the basic constitutional order. So all this political rhetoric that we have to just arrest President Park Geun-hye without waiting for the verdict of the Constitutional Court on the impeachment bill, that's exactly what we have been criticizing. We have been angry about. So two wrongs do not make one right. If we want to salvage the basic principles of liberal democracy in South Korea, then we have to follow the basic rules of liberal democracy, which is to obey the law and protect the constitutional order. Nobody is above the law or the constitution. Nobody is allowed to play by different rules. So we have to go back to the basic principles. And the reason why we have been engaging such, tiring, debates and discussions, as well as collective actions to rectify the basic constitutional order in this country.
You do sound very tired.
We have been talking about this topic for how many months?
For months.
I have become a legal expert and constitutional scholar.
Well, let's wrap up our discussion for this week. Any final words?
I want to give this saying to our Constitutional Court Justice and all the lawyers and the judges involving in this case. That is, the haste makes waste. All investigations about President Park's impeachment case is in final stages. So I think the conclusions, final rulings will be made soon. But we, considering the importance or effects of this final decisions about this issue affecting the Korean society, seems to be very enormous. So I want to give this word. Hasty makes waste. The justice, all they should have enough time to make a final decision.
Dr. Bong?
In order to improve your life, you have to know where you are standing, right? Finding ugly truth about ourselves, about our society, is extremely uncomfortable and painful. But this is good for long-term health of the society as well as that of individual. So I'll welcome all these investigations and political scandals as bitter pills to swallow.
Right. Well, thank you two very much for sharing your thoughts with us today. That's all for this edition of News Inside. Thanks for watching. We'll be back with more next week.